Hello and welcome to the Hounding Harmony Dog Training Podcast, the show that helps you go from chaos to calm with your dog, one episode at a time. I'm Emily, a dog trainer and licensed veterinary technician, here to give you practical tips, real-life strategies, and the confidence to raise a well-behaved, obedient dog without the overwhelm. Let's jump in and create a calm and connected life with your dog. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I wasn't going to post an episode this week because the last 2 weeks in our life have been absolutely crazy. I'm going to tell you what happened, and some of you are going to be like, yeah, that sounds really hard, and some of you are going to be like, girl, that's your crazy. But first of all, my family was sick. Then we had a loss in the family, had to prep for funeral, did a lot of family support events. And then now my sister-in-law is getting married this weekend, and all three of us are in the wedding, and everything starts in earnest again tomorrow. And I woke up this morning and was like, you know what? I can do it. I can get an episode out. I can do a quick turnaround. I picked the shortest one that I had planned, and we're going to just jump into it. So today's episode, I think I'm going to title it Just Keep Showing Up, because I've helped enough people to know that the biggest hurdle in progressing with your dog and with your relationship with them is to simply keep showing up. There's so many other priorities in our life, and it's so easy to push the dog to the bottom of that list, especially if your progress is slowing down, because a lot of times we can have like a burst of immediate progress simply because we lay down some boundaries, we clarify some rules for them, and that usually brings a bunch of change early on, and then it slowly starts to taper off because things are getting more difficult to train or they're more nuanced, and a lot of the personal work on our side starts to kick in. I want you to think about dog training as a workout plan or learning a new skill. The results come with repetition, over and over and over, practice, not just tiny bursts of effort. So I'm going to take you through why consistency matters, what's keeping you from it, and then finally how to start showing up better for your dog, for basically anywhere in your life, but specifically for your dog. This is something I'm really passionate about because in the past 3 or 4 years of being an adult and also running multiple passion projects, multiple businesses, I've learned the power of keeping a promise to yourself. And I think all of the self-help, all of the self-development things can be wrapped up to one thing, which is keep promises to yourself. It really is a superpower when you lock in and can trust yourself to follow through with things. Okay, I'm going to jump off of that soapbox really quick, but it really is so important, and I would love for every single one of you listening to learn that as well and to be able to believe in yourself in that way. But we're going to move on to the dog training portion of this and talk about why consistency matters. Your active training habit is building skills for both you and your dog. Skills like showing up continually, even when things get hard, as well as practical skills that we're actually seeking to train them. I really do believe that dog training is forming us into better people. And as we form our dog, they form us in return. So it's a win-win relationship. It's not just a duty or a task. It is an active improving on both sides. And it's something that you can get addicted to. You can get addicted to the progress, addicted to the transformation. So dogs, they learn through the repetition, they learn through the consistency. And when we are inconsistent, especially with our boundaries and rules, that's creating confusion. Because remember, our dogs don't necessarily understand English at this point. They will learn more words in English, but it's our job to teach them what those things mean. And if we start to change the definition of our actions, of our commands, of our boundaries, it's going to create a lot of confusion because now there's multiple answers. Now they're having to answer a multiple choice question every time that you present them with that scenario. I would also like to get rid of a myth right now, like just get it out of your head. Dogs are not maliciously manipulating you. They are, however, very good at noticing patterns. So, if you've trained them to react a certain way to a specific behavior, why would they not continue to do that? For example, if they only typically have to walk in a heel when you guys are out on a walk for 1 minute before you get distracted and forget to make them listen, or you get frustrated and simply decide not to, then they learn that, hey, I just need to wait 60 seconds and then mom's gonna lose her patience or she's gonna lose her attention and I can do whatever I want again. So I really can't stress this enough that consistency is building that reliability and trust in your guys' relationship. Because if they can't anticipate what you will do in a situation, they're going to struggle with trust on that. And by anticipate, I mean your approval or disapproval if they feel safe. So small daily efforts, they're compounding into those bigger changes. So some of the common roadblocks that we're seeing is life just gets so busy. I spent like a minute telling you guys my roadblock to posting this episode today. Life got busy. For you, it could be your job, it could be your kids, it could be distractions. Like, where are you spending your time? Is it valuable to be scrolling on your phone for an hour a day? Or is there more constructive things you can be doing with your time? Maybe your roadblock is that you have really unrealistic expectations and you thought that it would have been better by now. This is kind of like a cycle that will just keep repeating itself where you're expecting results faster, so you get discouraged, so you become inconsistent, and then you're frustrated because you expected results faster. So if you're stuck in this cycle of just being like, I thought it was going to be better by now, it's time to reevaluate your expectations. Is it something that should have been fixed by now and maybe it's your method that is putting you behind? Or is it simply that you have become impatient and that maybe your initial thought is not the truth? There's an episode I made, I think it's called When Will My Dog Grow Up? That would be really good for you to listen to because it's going to help you adjust that expectation. And if you're still struggling with it, remember, I'm here for you. I'm here to help you figure out what could possibly be going wrong because sometimes a fresh set of experienced eyes, I'll, usually I see the problem immediately. I'm just going to be honest with you. And that's because of my experience, and that's because I've trained myself to be able to see these things. So take the pressure of perfection off of yourself, reassess, and make sure that you're still on the right path. Another way that perfectionism really sucks our motivation is having it in your head that you need to do a full training session or it doesn't count. There's a time and a place for a training session, but I think that the most progress happens in those day-to-day moments where we are enforcing boundaries and we're taking a chance to practice a skill just because we have time. Like the microwave is going, we're going to practice this skill. That's much more realistic than having a training session where all our attention is on the dog for an extended period of time. Which, by the way, training sessions only need to be 15 minutes long. So if you think you need an hour, you don't. It doesn't have to be a big deal. It can be very low effort, very low pressure. Okay, so how should we start showing up better? How can we start to do this? So I'm going to redefine what showing up means. It does not have to be an extended period of time. 5 intentional minutes count. Like I said, training in those everyday moments, that's where they really start to trust that you mean what you say. Holding those boundaries, holding those expectations for them. Always be ready to take the 10 seconds needed to address a bad decision that they made. The next shift is to make sure that you have set the realistic expectations. Make sure that you're only focusing on 1 to 3 skills at a time. And I say 1 to 3, I feel like that seems kind of vast, but like if it's one, it's something that takes a lot of mental energy. So maybe we're working on them not being anxious or like reactivity, something like that. Although these aren't good examples because I would be having you work on other things as well. But focus on 1 or 2 big skills or 2 or 3 smaller skills at a time. So maybe it's loose leash walks, not jumping, going to a place that you have designated for them, like a kennel or a bed. Start measuring your progress in small wins, not just completed goals. Notice that little bit of progress towards the goal. So maybe instead of jumping immediately into your guest's arms when they walk through the door, they paused for a minute before they jumped. That shows thought. That shows that they were like, am I supposed to do this? So appreciate the progress and continue to correct and push them towards even more progress. Something that is so important to understand is that their environment, their current scenario, has a huge impact on their capacity to listen and to make good choices. So don't be so hard on them and yourself when they mess up in public, when they're not listening when people are around. Take your emotion and your pride out of it, because it's just when their environment is more stimulating, it is making it more difficult for them to make good choices, to remember what you've taught them. And that's not always a bad thing, but it's something to keep in mind so that you aren't caught off guard by this stark decline in their behavior and that you don't get frustrated. In this same vein, if you are in public and you need to correct your dog, people notice when you don't follow through with your dog, when you don't hold them accountable. They don't judge you because you do. This is the same for kids. I see a mom struggling in public, their toddler's throwing a tantrum, but she's handling it well, versus a mom who is handling it by just giving the child whatever they want so that they stop crying. I have so much more respect for the mom that holds the boundary than for the mom that quickly changes course because their child started screaming. Same thing with dogs. If your dog is acting up in public, I'm not going to judge you because everyone's at a different point in their training journey. But if you start to just try to minimize the disruption and actually hinder their progress, that's when it's annoying. Yeah, it is. Not that I want you to worry about what people think, but I want you to understand that people respect when you are responsible. The third way that we can start showing up better is to build habits into your routine. So tie training to things that you already do. When you're brewing your coffee, you can do a quick practice. When you're letting your dog out, you can make sure that they practice good manners. They're not just knocking you down on their way out the door. They're sitting there waiting for your release. Be consistent with your cues, your expectations, and your boundaries. So you can write them down if you need to until you have it in your brain as second nature. The less words you use to indicate a command or to request a command from your dog, the less confusion that they're going to have. There's actually a training philosophy with working dogs that you shouldn't speak around your dog, because when you speak, you want your dog to know that you're talking to them. I don't think that's practical for our house dogs, but it is a good thing to consider. Are you inundating your dog with so many words that they just think it's gibberish, you know? Are you just saying too much all the time to them that they just are like, oh, she's going off. It's probably not going to make sense to me, so why would I listen? But more importantly, make sure that you are using a consistent word to trigger a consistent command. That was the point of that rant, or before the rant. That was what I was trying to say. Number 4 way that we can start showing up better is to track your training sessions. Maybe you take a video of your current command skills and progress and you check back in weekly. Maybe you have a notebook where you write down progress. Just make sure that you can see it so that it becomes more satisfying to continue to create that progress. You can also join a community, work with a trainer, or find a training buddy. Something to help you stay accountable with external motivation. In my experience, a community is the best way to keep you focused and motivated, as well as learning. It's actually my dream one day to make a community for us to share progress, to troubleshoot problems, and to do like pack walks and cool things like that. It's going to be a while down the pipeline, but just to create a place on the internet for other dog owners to come together and for there to be good advice given back and forth, for iron to sharpen iron, and then to create relationship. It just sounds like what life is supposed to be about. So I just want to encourage you that consistency is more about frequency than perfection. So you're showing up more times than you're not. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to keep trying. Progress is probably going to feel slow most of the time, but every time you show up, you're building that 1% better, right? So we're trying to get to the 100%. If every day we get 1% better, you see, the math is mathing. A book that I read a couple years ago that I love and changed the way that I think about challenges and habits was Atomic Habits by James Clear. And he said that every time you practice a habit, or you don't, you're casting a vote to who you are going to become. Same is true with our dog. We're casting a vote for who we want them to be, whether we show up to train that day or we don't. Are we going to say, yes, I want a good dog, or no, I want a good dog? I hope that visual made sense for you. Something else that I would like to remind you is that the only way to actually fail at training your dog is to just quit. Because when you quit, that's the end, right? But if you continue to try, there's always that open-ended possibility. I barely remember the days that I showed up for my dogs in those early training days. I can't remember the specific days. I do, however, remember and appreciate the outcomes of all of my work. I did it for me now in the future. Past me worked her butt off so that future me could live in this peace and harmony with my crazy high energy dogs. So I hope this made sense. These are 6 a.m. thoughts, 6 a.m. words coming out of my mouth. And I hope that you found this really encouraging, that it was inspirational and not so much, I don't want to discourage you. I don't want you to feel shame about it. I want you to see that it just takes a couple steps to start being on the right side of progress. So I would love to challenge you to implement one of the things we talked about, whether that is to track your progress, to put a new habit into your life this week, to reassess your expectations, whatever it is. Pick one manageable, actionable thing, and you're going to start to see better progress in you showing up and in your dog becoming a better companion. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you have a great day, and I'll talk to you next time.
Thank you so much for tuning into Hounding Harmony Dog Training. If you found this episode helpful, it would mean the world to me if you'd follow the show and leave a quick review. This helps other dog owners find the support that they need too. For more tips, training help, and encouragement, follow me on TikTok and Instagram at HH_dog training, or you can check out the resources in the show notes. Until next time, keep hounding that harmony.